Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Dorothy and I work at the Department of Biological Sciences at the University of Bergen. I am a researcher in Responsible Research and Innovation, or RRI in EU speak, specifically in marine science. So that's something that all of my projects have to do, RRI in marine science. Here's a little fun fact. I helped organize the first post-normal science in practice symposium in Bergen back some years ago. So this is really great that we still have a strong community that is growing and that we can actually be digital in this day and age. I'm going to introduce you to the project, the LoveC SDG or LoveC SDG project, and how we have used real principles of post-normal science to really create a iterative and inter and transdisciplinary project within for society and extending the peer community. I'm going to introduce you to the case, one of the central cases in the project, and that is this amazing island of Andaya. And maybe you've even seen pictures of it from before because it was used in Apple's 2015 launch for new Apple products, new iPad and whatnot, because it's just so dead gorgeous. And this is an island. I'll show you some maps in a little bit later. This is the case of the municipality of Andaya, Andaya Kommune. It only has 4,600 inhabitants, and actually they're experiencing a significant population decline, about almost 7% from 10 years ago. And this is a real issue for sustainable coastal development. I'll just point out on the map here where it's located. This is in the very most upper part of Vesterålen. The famous Lofoten fishing islands being here. This is a very significant fishing area of Norway for over 1,000 years, and you see it's located in not the very, very north of Norway, but quite north in Norway. There are different sectors involved in this small island, everything from tourism, fishing, agriculture, rocket launching, which I'll show a picture of, and the aquaculture now on land in these closed contained systems. For all of these different sector aspects, there's only one spatial planner. We're working closely with him, so this is a good thing. But you see that there's going to be a lot of balancing of different priorities for the island in this development of the infrastructure. And this makes this a very interesting case for us. Just a quick outline of this talk. I already presented some of the details about Andaya municipality, and that's the case I'm going to talk about. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more broadly about reflections and how we've used post-normal science to frame this project. I'll get into description of methods, anticipate some results, and then maybe even end with some questions for discussion. A lot of my work that I do has been inspired by, of course, Silvio and Jerry. And one significant presentation that Silvio came to Bergen and gave happened last year in November on science, democracy, and sustainability. You'll even see that he was giving an advertisement for this very conference back in November. So Silvio is a really important driver for this and very inspirational, because one of the points that I got a lot of main points out of this, but the point on democracy, science, and sustainability is that we're talking about process and not products, and compromises, not consensus. Understanding the role of technoscience, and that perhaps the most important aspect of this talk to my project was that we don't have a shared idea of the past, present, or future. How do we get people together in a inter and transdisciplinary way to talk about priorities for the future and to how to anchor this in the UN sustainability goals? So I'm the leader of the LoveC SDG project. As I mentioned, here's our logo. We're financed by the Research Council of Norway in their environmental program. We're a 4-year project, and about approximately 1 million euros is the translation from the Kroner project. I'm happy that we have 4 of our 7 faculties at UIB involved, humanities, social science, math, and law, and that we have a really nice international consortium also, Vaknien, Stockholm Resilience Center, CSIRO, Norrlandforskning in northern Norway, and the Nansen Center, and our Institute of Marine Research also in Bergen. Some of the issues that are really driving our project are the fact that the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the UN have 169 targets. We're working in an area with very strong cultural heritage and cultural environments, and we're asking the question, both how can we do this in a sustainable way, but also how can academia, with our different faculties and interdisciplinary approach, how can we develop the tools to link the global ideals to the local reality, and linking that with these very essential issues of integrated assessments, legitimacy, saliency, and credibility. So one of the things that Silvio mentioned in his talk in November in Bergen was that sustainability science is not off the shelf. We have to work together with spatial planners and help scope the case, also scoping it from an interdisciplinary perspective. We want to engage stakeholders and design these multi-faculty systems thinking, what I also like to call SDG thinking, and to get those interactions so that people can make these informed decisions and priority setting, basically. The extending the peer community, of course, being a very essential element of post-normal science, and that we are looking at process and not products. There will always be these issue about which indicators are best. We're not developing necessarily indicators, but we're trying to put together a very democratic process of getting people to think about how the SDGs can be localized in their area. Another important thing for us is this democratization and localization, and understanding that that's about people and process. So these 2 quotes from Silvio: science and democracy is a struggle for the extension of rights, people's rights to information, people's rights to engage on that information, and that Silvio said that it's really important to focus on the dialectics between science and democracy. So our mode of engagement in the project, we are there when that happens. Jessica, my PhD student, has made 2 interventions already, embedding herself in the local community. We'll go back there many more times in the project duration, and that when we're there, we understand that we have to meet people. We're trying to be responsible to needs. We're empathetic to local situations, and we are always asking ourselves in this reflexive RRI mode, are we doing the right thing? Is this the right mode of engagement for what we're trying to do? And our constant dialogue with the spatial planner in Andaya, and helping him not take over the work he's supposed to do, but help develop the future of this localization issue. So I mentioned that we've been out in the field. We had our first initial trip this past January, so that was good, way before Corona was even thought of, more or less, and at least from Norway, to talk to local researchers and local people, also local companies, and understanding how, for example, at the Andaya Space Center, they have been launching research rockets for 60 years or something like this, and they are now in the development of a major new rocket platform to start launching satellites for major corporations like Google, like Amazon. So this is a really developing technoscience and commercial launching pad. Of course, this is a very interesting geopolitical area of the globe with its proximity to Russia and this and that, and Arctic security being a very interesting issue. So it kind of behooves Norway also to have these capabilities for launching also in the future. As far as our solutions and our tools, in order to localize the SDGs and focusing on legitimacy, saliency, and credibility, These two terms, epistemic community, being our epistemic community of experts across the different faculties at the University of Bergen, versus the term extended peer community, and that's where we engage the local businesses, local actors in the spatial planner, as well as the regional managers in the fylkeskommune, the county, regional county managers, in trying to develop a good thinking, what I mentioned, this SDG thinking, and how to localize these plans of development in a sustainable way in order to link different SDG targets. To do this, we have different engagement tools that I want to quickly introduce as how we put together the epistemic community and the extended peer community. And this is, in this middle part, the different methods we're using. Q methodology, Q sort, to understand and investigate perspectives of actors in regards to sustainability. We want to use, we are applying a social network analysis to link these actors and to see how are they connected now. That's the descriptive in order to make the jump to the normative, how should they be connected. Also what we call relevance tracing of all the 169 SDG targets and looking for these synergies. This is a significant aspect of our work, which is also quite anchored in the SDG Bergen initiative at the University of Bergen on actually how to do this and developing this tool. And then finally, our stakeholder workshops with interactive stakeholder mapping. We partnered with a business ARC tool who has done this, and this is basically trying to see in the workshop setting if we're able to use Google Maps and to localize these different sustainability aspects. And again, this use of the epistemic community with the extended peer community in order for us to get where we want to get. Here is a map, one of the maps of Andaya Kommune that's currently used for the spatial planning. You see it is an island with lots of different plans. And the question we're trying to also ask ourselves and the local people in our extended peer community is if we could simplify this with this digital tool, the ARC tool. This is very much in progress, and we're going to have our first workshop in February as part of the Day Zero event for the University of Bergen's SDG conference. The last initiative I want to mention is this initiative that we have at the University of Bergen, also an interfaculty initiative, SESAM, the Center for Sustainable Area Management, and that we have a new UNESCO biosphere. If people are familiar with the Biosphere Man and Nature program of UNESCO, Nordhordland is the very first one that is in Norway. And the SESAM, the Center for Sustainable Area Management that we have, it's a virtual center, and we're working towards generating and providing knowledge of which trade-offs and synergies exist and how these can be handled legally, socially, ecologically to the benefit of nature and people. So this is a very exciting initiative to us and a way for us to first develop this SDG type of thinking, understanding social ecological synergies of the targets and localizing them with the local planners. Finally, to end again with Silvio, and the idea that process, not products, is really important. We want to have a democratic process to understand different priorities, where the trade-offs will be and where the conflicts are, so then we can act on that in a democratic way. So I thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to the panel discussion.